grew up on a tobacco farm in South Carolina.
Wow.
And my father was a welder. My mother worked in a factory. I'm the oldest of 4 children. I come from a large family. My mom is the oldest of 16.
Woo! Okay.
South Carolina farm background. My dad is one of 10 children.
Okay.
And I'm a product of 1960s and 70s television.
This was my next question, because I was going to say, how much of an influence, if any, were hosts of television shows and variety and talk shows when you were growing up, and did they influence you? So I guess
Absolutely. That's the world that I wanted to be a part of. And that world, for the most part, doesn't even exist anymore.
not like it did.
Not like it did, but I grew up, again, in the 60s and 70s, where you had the Ed Sullivan Show,
Dinah Shore.
Dinah Shore, the Mike Douglas Show, the Merv Griffin Show, Merv Griffin being my idol, who I aspire
loved
to.
him. Oh.
And then there were all these television specials.
Yeah,
now remember,
you had your Laugh-Ins, you had your Sonny and Cher's, you had all that stuff.
That's correct. But remember, there were only 3 networks.
Right.
We had ABC, CBS, and NBC.
Right.
And the great thing about having 3 networks is that they vied for the largest demographic that they could possibly get. And so I grew up watching television specials in which those from my parents' and my grandparents' generation all came together to do these television specials.
We would sit there all together in a den or a room. You mean everybody, like you, your grandparents, my family too.
And no one had a remote control.
No.
So no one was changing the channels. And when someone, if you didn't like this act, perhaps you were going to like the next act. And believe it or not, someone once said that the remote control killed the variety show, because now everyone's clicking and clicking and clicking. And you're lucky with most people if they will sit. Have you ever been with someone who has the remote and you don't have it? And doesn't it drive you crazy? Because their wavelength and their brain frequency is not the same as yours. So as you're sitting there going, I like that, they're on to the next channel. And with a variety show, that's what it was all about. It was having a plate spinner and having a dog act and having someone reading Shakespeare and having someone doing all these other things and coming together. And again, that was the world that I wanted to be a part of. I loved Ed Sullivan.
Oh, yes, yes.
And someone once referred to me, and I'm going to throw a name out, and you may or may not know who it is, and that's Saul Hurak. Because who was a famous, what's the word I'm looking for? He presented a lot of acts all over the United States. And an impresario, that's the word I was looking for. And so for someone to compare me to Saul Hurak, and first of all, to know that I knew who that was one of the greatest compliments that someone could pay me in this business.
It's great. So